Oh my god. Here we are.
Oh wait, we have to introduce ourselves first, right?
Okay, so yeah,
We have
let's.
to figure out how we're gonna like lead into this.
That's what it is. You just did it. That was the lead-in.
Awesome. Okay. I guess we're live now. You want to go first?
Okay.
We have to introduce the podcast.
Oh god. No. Oh. We are not prepared for this. Oh my god. Welcome to the Homestake podcast, a Homestake podcast.
Because Homestake is a thing.
It's a little
that
joke.
people sometimes say when they're talking about Homestuck.
Because it's got the same consonants.
That it do. Everybody has like a tagline. We need like a thing. Like what is the thing of this podcast?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out because like we could explain the premise that you've read it and I haven't, but
Yeah.
that seems long until I just said it right there where it was like 5 words. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what is it? So like welcome to the Hamsteak podcast where
Also, I'm just gonna constantly say Homestuck instead of Hamsteak by mistake.
that's fine.
Welcome to the Homestuck podcast. I mean Hamstoke Homesteak.
The Homestake Padcost. You know what? Honestly, consider the sphere of people to whom we are releasing this. I don't think this necessarily needs to be particularly polished. I think it could be an iteratively refined product, much like the work itself.
Oh boy, let's get into that at some point soon. But
Yeah.
first, we should probably say a bit about ourselves.
My name's Lydia, and this is.
Alex. Hello.
We're gonna read Homestuck.
We are.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with Homestuck, that's totally cool, and we hope that you will read along with us. So, Homestuck is a long-form multimedia webcomic by Andrew Hussie. It's posted at mspaintadventures.com. It's been going since April of 2009, and it's still not quite finished today, but it's almost done. The best that I can describe the plot or the premise is that it's about some kids who play a video game, which proves to have unexpectedly dire consequences, and the story becomes very large, very convoluted. It's got a lot of self-referential, paradoxical plot threads. The story itself is a parody of the text-based adventure genre. So the advancement through the story is written sort of like choosing commands for your player within a text-based adventure. I like it, and I think it's got a lot of good things going for it in that it's funny, it's got interesting characters, it's got really interesting female characters, and it's very interesting if you like big, huge, complicated stories. This is very satisfying in watching so many pieces coming together. So for today's podcast, we started at the beginning of the story, and we read through page 2001. That's not actually 2,000 pages. The 2001 is a sort of an ID number that you can paste into the end of the URL of any page in the archive and navigate to that page. So at the start of this story, we meet John. John's our first character. It's John's 13th birthday, and he's waiting for his copy of the beta version of a game called Suburb. And the game comes in the mail, and he wants to go retrieve it, but he's trying to avoid his dad, who is obsessed with harlequins and with baking, and is going to make John eat cake, do a birthday thing. He's trying to avoid his father. And in the end, he unfortunately is forced to confront his dad in order to retrieve this beta game. And they strife, which is what they call confrontations in this comic. And in the end, John is able to distract him with smoke pellets and run off with the game. So without further ado, we are going to tell you about what it was like to read it.
All right, so for you folks at home, I, Alex, have not read Homestuck before. I read the first 10 pages once upon a time and got confused because I thought it was an actual text adventure, and I couldn't figure out how to equip the arms. But it is not a text adventure. It is just one click. There's only one option at all times, as far as I know.
It's a very disappointing way. I would have been disappointed, yeah, if I had thought that about this comic, which is not at all actually a text adventure game. I mean, he does a lot. He really commits to the formalism. So part of the premise of Homestuck is that it is set up as though it's a text adventure game, and a lot of the tropes.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a lot of that. It was actually really cute. Like a lot of the ways it acted like one, although
Yes.
it wasn't. But we'll get into that afterwards. So,
Yes.
Lydia, you have read Homestuck.
Yes.
Are you
So
up to date? Are you up to date on Homestuck?
No. So I identify as an ex-Homestuck because I used to be hella into this. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Now we are.
Okay. Oh well, I mean, like.
I think a mild swear is fine.
Really into this fucking comic. In high school.
Now a major swear.
Yeah. So what is it? I'm now in my last year of college. So
Oh my god.
was 4 years ago now. I got hella dumped in October of 2011.
Oh.
And my friend showed me the like big major flash that broke Newgrounds and broke the site and like sort of broke the internet.
Oh, was that Cascadia?
Yeah, Cascade. So my friend showed me Cascade, and like they'd been talking about the comic for a while, and then he showed me Cascade, and I was like, "How did you get?" Because I had seen like the first couple pages of this comic years ago,
Mhm.
and then I saw Cascade, and I was like, "How do you get from a young man stands in his bedroom to this? Like, I need to know." And so
That is cool.
having been hella dumped, was pretty down to just sort of drown myself in media.
Mm-hmm.
Caught up to Cascade in a week.
Oh my
and
god.
then I believe that was during the sort of agonizing pause after Cascade when we were waiting for the updates to resume again.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept up to date for the next like year or so, through like 2013 sometime.
All right.
And then I started to have like, just not care about it as much, and the updates got more spread out and whatever. And so I don't even know where I'm caught up to now. Far ahead of the beginning, but pretty far back from the current state.
Cool. So at some point we will be exploring this together.
Yeah.
If we ever get that far.
Exciting.
Which
We
will-
gotta talk about that actually, because I kind of feel like I should read ahead of you just to maintain the dynamic. I'm not sure if we should do that or just let this evolve.
Well, I feel like by the time we get to that point, we can figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. Burn that bridge when we get to it. Okay.
That'll be a long way away.
Yeah. Are we gonna give like our like internet like?
Let's get
contact?
let's get to that bridge later.
Well, okay, we'll burn that bridge later. Okay, so Alex, do you want to talk about the process of finding your way to the first page and what you thought upon starting to read it?
I just went to mspaintadventures.com and the first page was right there on the top.
Oh wait, it starts. Oh right, you can just start reading from the beginning right there. I had totally forgotten that.
But also the archive tab is like right on the top of the
What does
page.
the archive tab take you to?
It just takes you to a list of the MS Paint adventures with
Okay.
with Homestuck at the very top.
I don't think that was always there. I think when I started, you had to know to click on log.
Oh, weird.
I like spent a while clicking around trying to like figure out how to catch up to where I was. Anyway, so you got yourself to the beginning with minimal difficulty.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, here's the first page of Homestuck right in front of us. If you're following along at home, you see a little boy with a shirt and no arms.
He's not a little boy. He's a young man.
He's a 13-year-old.
He's 13 as of today.
So, okay. All right, here's my first question.
Mhm.
Is the fact that he doesn't have a name yet a joke, or is that actually a literal thing, that he does not have a name until his 13th birthday? Because his online friends seem to know his name is John.
Yeah, I think that is a narrative conceit,
Okay.
or a metatextual conceit, to sort of remind you that this is supposed to be a text adventure.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then we as readers try to call him Zeusmel Poop Lord.
So yeah, so that's I assume, like, I know a bit of the history of Homestuck, and I know that it started off like the other MS Paint adventures as kind of a user submitted actual text adventure. But eventually it just got too unwieldy, and Andrew Hussie did not let them choose things anymore.
Right. Yeah, I believe that switch took place. I'm completely guessing here, but I believe the switch took place around Act 2. And like since then, he kind of keeps his finger on the pulse of the fandom, or he did for a while after that. I think by this point, no, he still makes shout-outs to the fandom quite often. But it's a lot more general. It's more like he will just parody the fandom often.
Cool. Okay.
Through plot devices. Okay, so yeah. But at this point, every action was chosen from a poll that he would post alongside the image.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and so he has a poster on his door behind him for a Sburb beta, and I know that is kind of the game that Homestuck centers around.
Yes.
But also, it reminds me of there was like a Sims spin-off named like The Burbs or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like not as like in depth as a regular Sim game, I think. But all I remember is that the cover art had the black-eyed peas in Sim form.
God.
And they were the Burbs.
What? No, I hate it. I hate
Or maybe it was herbs because they were urban, which is gross.
That's worse.
Yeah. I forget which one it is. Either one is bad.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're messing around in our room. My first note has to do with removing the cake from the magic chest.
Oh, that's far. I have, like, the first few pages. I have several notes.
Oh, please, just like do your notes. Then.
Okay. So
what you thought.
first thing I wrote down is here we are ... Just kind of in a tender way. Kind of really excited to start this adventure.
Hell yeah.
Second thing I had written down was that the animation here is real cute. John Egbert here, he's a handsome lad.
His happy little eyebrows.
Mm-hmm. Wait,
love it.
Where are the eyebrows? On the first page, I don't see any eyebrows.
When you name him John Egbert.
Oh, yeah. His little like scrunchy face when he does the wrong thing is really cute as well.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I said that I was pretty impressed by Zeusmel Poop Lord. It was really, really mature, and I'm looking forward to this caliber of humor in the future.
I love Zeusmel Poop Lord. Yes, I love the entire, like, every time I go back and like start to reread this, I'm like just reminded that the whole reason that like I don't know, a lot of people say that like the beginning of Homestuck is just desperately boring and they hate it. I love it. It's so like abstruse and like whimsically stupid.
It is. It's very whimsical. So on the next page, on page 4, if you're following along at home, we see the full kind of isometric view of his room.
Wait. Okay, can I stop you right there?
Sure.
So page numbers are a lot more helpful if you give them in terms of the number that is in the URL.
Yes.
Because otherwise, it's really hard to keep track of what page.
Right. What I mean when I say page 4 is the digit ending in 4.
Oh, okay.
After the URL. Like,
okay.
I don't think there's actually page numbers on the screen.
There aren't.
Yeah, I'm talking about the URL.
Okay.
I liked a number of cakes are scattered around your room. I felt like that was a really cute bit of text and drawing. Whimsical, absurdist. You know, you get a number of cakes scattered around your room on your birthday. That was cute.
Happy birthday.
And then I kind of took note of all the things in his room, but those actually all got explored on their own later. So quickly retrieve arms from drawer. So yeah, that's where I got lost. before.
You got lost?
Not lost, but I was like, for a while, I think I tried to click the drawer.
Oh. That's where you originally got lost.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like several years ago.
Yeah. There's nothing, honestly, the feeling of like being stuck in a game when like you know that the solution should be very simple.
Yeah. Like how long were you stuck with Toriel?
Oh god. So the game Undertale, which everybody should play, even though I'm not done with it.
Mhm.
Everyone should play it. And I was playing through the little like tutorial level in the beginning where this character Toriel is just like leading you through her little like essentially like intro level that she's built herself, these little like puzzles that you can practice solving.
Mhm.
And we get to something and it's like, oh, here's a tough one, like let's see if you can figure it out yourself. And I know from the tone of the game that it's like supposed to be like the joke is that it's like just pedantically easy.
Mhm.
And I could not figure it out. I think I spent like 30 minutes between like toddling back and forth in the game, trying to interpret everything, you know, the like 4 screens that I'd seen already, and like angrily Googling and like posting calls for help on all of my social media platforms. So it's just like, there's no way that I'm this dumb. Come on. Like, I'm not good at games, but I'm not this bad. And then finally I watched like a walkthrough, and the solution is you just stand there for a second and she takes you through it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good to hear. It's okay though. The actual like the demo for Undertale, which I only played like half an hour before it came out, because someone was like, "Hey, it takes half an hour to play the demo. You should play that until it comes out." And then I did, and then I bought it immediately. But that, like the very first screen where you fall down the hole, the tile set is a bit different in the demo from what it was in the game. So the path to the right wasn't as clear. So I was stuck in the first room. I didn't realize I had to go to the right.
Oh my god.
But it's fine, because it's a good game and you should all play it. And also it has ties to Homestuck. So it is fine that we're talking about it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so the tie is what it's made by.
It's made by Toby Fox, who did a lot of music for Homestuck.
Yes.
And there's actually a song in the game, Megalovania, which was originally it was originally part of like a ROM hack that he did, like a SNES game hack. But then he made a different version for Homestuck, and then he made a third version for Undertale. So that is his like signature track, and it's very good.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our little Undertale spiel. Go buy Undertale. Back to this magic chest.
Okay. Yeah. So that's where I have one of my first notes is remove cake from magic chest. And the only note I actually have is that I had forgotten how. So like in the beginning, it's a little confusing the way that they switch vantage points back and forth, and you don't notice it unless you're sort of looking for it. But like the actions switch between like John : something to just like you do something, and it's like weird how they have you messing with John.
Oh yeah.
Because that does not that's not really a spoiler. Like that does not persist.
Okay.
It's a little interesting. I guess it's a good way to introduce the reader to the story, but like as a rereader, it's a little confusing. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So then he's Alex, stop me if I skip anything that you had commentary on.
Okay. We get to page 6, and the cursor moves the cake from on top of the chest, and I just wrote cute. That was a good little cute game thing.
It is. There's surprisingly a lot about this that is cute, in spite of like it's not necessarily something I'd ever use to describe the work as a whole. You know this gets like hella violent later, right?
Not specifically, but okay.
Oh yeah, dude, it gets like brutal.
Okay, all right, great. But no, yeah, all these little like game design thingies. I've been thinking a lot about game design lately, because I've been playing Undertale, which has a lot of game design jokes. And I just like noticed these little things like the cursor and these, like on the next page, put the captcha log in the Sylladex. Just those words, very funny.
Yeah, the introduction of all the jargon is very.
Yeah.
You catalog them in your Sylladex. You have no idea what that actually means, though.
Yeah, it was cute.
Right on.
So then he takes the smoke pellets out of his chest. We don't have to. Probably shouldn't go into this much detail about
Do page by page because
the action.
Exhausting.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say, now that like he's going to talk about his data structure for his Sylladex or something, and that is where I actually stopped, because it got to like a wall of text about data structures, and I was 16, and I was like, I do not have time to read this, so I stopped.
Oh, the data structures just put you off too badly, dude. Data structures are off-putting as all hell. It's really okay. So it's really funny for me to be going back and reading this because I initially read it in high school when I was like, I think I'm going to go to school and study anthropology. And like, what I've ended up studying is a mixture of like cognitive psychology and computer science.
Mm-hmm.
And so like now it's like data structures. It's like, well, I actually know that. Like I get the programming jokes now. Like, it's a lot funnier once you've like actually suffered through a programming class.
I'm
but it's
sure.
just funny because like we don't see that come back later.
Oh no! Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, the like John, like the whole like deal where John is like a baby hacker, like I think gets dropped pretty quickly.
Oh, no.
All of them have like a trillion interests that then get dropped.
Oh no!
But,
That's so sad.
yeah. The work breeds. The work evolves. So we're at we've talked about our data structures.
Yes.
And now we're examining the problem sleuth poster.
Yeah. So I really liked how it just hyperlinks to the MS Paint Adventure store to buy this poster. Kind of very cheeky. And later something links like just to the Wikipedia article for the thing. And I thought that was cute too.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, like older fans can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I believe that those links went in relatively recently. Like when I did my first read through in 2011, I don't remember those links being there in the early pages. I think they went in between then and my reread in the summer of 2012, but I could be wrong. Okay, so yeah, the call-outs are funny. Oh, the one where he talks about... Okay, do you have anything between this and the one where he's talking about the Deep Impact poster?
Not really.
Okay. You know what we should do next time is we should like just throw all our notes in one doc so that we can read down a single timeline together.
Yeah, that's probably better than like clicking through the pages individually and just waiting for something to say.
It's pretty bad.
But it's okay because this is a test run and we are doing good.
Yes, yeah. So this is kind of like an episode 0, and hopefully our episode 1 will be a little bit more.
I can't call it episode 0. I can't deal with that much.
0 indexing?
Yeah, it has to be episode 1 because it's the first episode. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I thought the Deep Impact thing was funny. Because he's talking about the Deep Impact thing in which, who was it? Was it Morgan Freeman who's the president in that?
He was talking about his like calming voice or something.
Yeah. But so it's like, plus a black president? Now you've seen everything.
Oh yeah, and it's 2009.
Which is funny, yeah. It was posted in April of 2009, so it's less than 4 months after Obama took office.
So my note for that was
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's a thing in media from like the 90s and the aughts is that they'd have like a black actor playing the U.S. president, and like it was just like, I don't know. It was just like a trope that would happen.
Yeah.
The president often in sci-fi movies would be a black guy, and like it was just like a weird trope. I don't know enough about like race in media to really comment on it, but it's just funny.
Fair.
Like now you've seen everything type of thing. Like it happened a lot.
Yeah.
And, which is not to say that people of color are sufficiently represented in film, because they're not. But so it's a whole thing. Anyway, before I dig myself deeper into this hole,
You're fine.
I thought it was really funny how like he is talking to his friends on his computer chat client. Like that's the thing that like goes off, and he goes to that to like talk to his friends.
Yeah.
I don't like, Alex, I don't know about you, but So it's a little bit retro as of when this was posted, right? Because it was posted in 2009. But, like, so I think I kind of stuck with AIM a little later than a lot of people. But I can remember using AIM to talk about the Obama campaign in, like, 2008.
Whoa, that is weird to me.
Why?
Nobody was using... Well, I guess that's not true. I guess I was using MSN in grade... Yeah, in the same year. So never mind. I was just feeling weird about time.
No, I think you're right. I think because people were definitely moving to texting more.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but that didn't work when you were, like, you know, having an involved conversation about the election with people. So, another thing that I totally didn't notice on my first or second or, like, third attempts at rereading, but that I'm noticing now is on John's desktop, there's files like fuck, dot, and then this, like, upward-facing V cake.
You didn't...
It's a dot carrot cake.
You didn't notice? I love his desktop.
It's a dot carrot cake, and then dot tilde app and tilde plus app or tilde def, which will actually get commented on.
Oh dang!
Much later, I think maybe thousands of pages later.
Tilde. That yeah, I didn't notice that. That's very.
Yeah, it's a programming language that I don't really know if it's a spoiler to talk about it. So.
Okay. Well, then we won't. But then we won't.
It has to do with it executes when things end, like infinite looping and like weird stuff.
Okay.
Anyway.
Just something from a couple pages back. He talked about the Nick Cage poster above his bed.
Oh God.
And I just like that he has a shirtless Nicolas Cage over his bed. That's just something I want to appreciate.
He values Nicolas Cage. He's like.
Yeah, I like that his interest is terrible movies, and he just has posters all over.
He's like, this kid is way more interesting than I was at age 13. I feel.
Yeah, he's got some character for sure.
Hell yeah. Okay, so a couple pages after we see John's desktop, we see the first chat log of the story, which is important because a lot of the story is told through chat logs.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely know about Homestuck.
Which is good. It's interesting to me that you picked that up about Homestuck.
Well, I've also I've read some of Neocosmos, which is a new webcomic kind of in the vein of Homestuck, like in the structure, and it has like chat logs in it, and so I know that's like a Homestuck thing.
Okay, yeah. So it's interesting that you've read Neocosmos. Seems really good. I haven't actually read a bunch of it.
I lost my place, and like I haven't figured out how to navigate it well to get back to the page I was at fast, so I have fallen very far behind. But the first like chapter was really good, so I hope I'm gonna get back to it soon.
Oh yeah, maybe that'll be our next thing as we read Neocosmos.
And that's for people at home. That's Neocosmos with a K, I think.
Okay, so yeah. So one thing that I thought was funny about the chat logs is just that. Okay, so first thing, I had a friend who told me that like, when I was like evangelizing Homestuck, like when I first got into it, my friend told me that he was a Problem Sleuth fan, and then that he tried to read Homestuck but couldn't get into it, and it turned out that it was because he didn't read the tester logs. Like,
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So yeah, you increasingly miss virtually everything about the story. We actually haven't quite hit that point yet in what we've read for today, but very quickly, like, everything happens under that little cut. And so, you don't think to click that button, you miss it all.
Yikes. So, just on the first pester log, I just want to note that, like, it's interesting to see kind of this style of writing in 2009, because I definitely hadn't adopted this yet. Like, the all lowercase, like, the kind of writing that we do. But I hadn't realized this kind of thing existed in 2009. I was still talking in, like, proper punctuation.
Oh. I think I had switched to all lowercase, but I had switched to all lowercase in the, like, XD, N_N.
Oh, God.
In art. Oh, yeah.
Well, I also, I was really active on Reddit, I think, it was fine. From 2010 to 2012. So, and the writing style is proper punctuation. So I guess I retained it longer than people who were more active on like Tumblr and stuff.
I don't think Hussie ran in those circles. I think he ran in like maybe like game forum circles.
Okay.
Was his deal. Like I know his first couple comics or maybe his first comic started like on a forum. So I don't know where he picked up this diction, but it was novel to me. It was a little bit novel to me as I was first reading it.
From the year 2015, I could say that this is aged well.
Yes. Yeah, their diction definitely ages surprisingly well. John's looking at his mailbox. Okay, so he's calling it the flippy arm swingy dealy, the little red arm swingy dealy thing, or whatever it is called.
Uh-huh.
Do you know, Alex, do you have like a concrete word for that? Like, was there ever any ambiguity about it?
Well, I don't see a lot of those. Like, most places here don't have those.
What?
Yeah. Like, our mailboxes are usually like on our door, like beside the door, or like just a flap in the door, or in like a lot of places they're communal mailboxes like on the corner.
Okay.
Like there's not a lot of like white picket mailboxes with red flags. I would call it a flag.
Okay. Yeah, we always called it a flag too. Okay, I guess now is a good time to specify that I'm American. I was born and raised in New Jersey. And Alex, where are you from?
I am from Canada. I am from Ontario, although right now I'm living in Nova Scotia, which is on the East Coast for those who don't know. But it's a great place that has a new prime minister who is cool and not a racist asshole megalomaniac. So I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.
Go Canada.
Woo. I was really hype about that election. I thought that that went well.
Have you seen the cabinet posting?
Oh hell yeah.
It's so good. Like oh man, it's good. It's all good. I'm so hopeful for the future.
Dude, it reads to me like this is so off topic. This is gonna be
for sure.
God, one of those rambling podcasts. But
it's great. I mean, we can't talk about Homestuck for half an hour.
I mean, it's already been 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think if it ends up being an hour long, that's fine.
It's a first podcast extravaganza.
Yeah. Anyway, all I was gonna say is that the Trudeau cabinet reads to me like science fiction. Like those news articles.
For sure.
Read to me like sci-fi. I'm like, this can't be real politics that's happening in the world. Someone behaving this sanely and progressively, no shot.
But Lydia, don't you know? It's 2015. God, the gif of him just like smirking and extending his palms, saying that it looks like a movie. It looks like a sci-fi movie.
It does. It doesn't help that he's like beautiful. He's like beautiful enough that like you wouldn't need to cast like if you cast like an actual like famous actor person to like play him, you wouldn't be like he's too beautiful. That's not anything like the real person. Okay, I'm sorry. We really need to bring this back.
Sure.
Bring this back. I'm sorry. I'm still reading my note about plus a black president, and that's where that portmanteau came from. Okay, so another thing that I really noticed. Okay, so he's looking at the mailbox, and then he realizes that his dad is at home, and so he can't go down. And I felt that the first time I was reading this, I was like having acute senioritis. I was so ready to get out of my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
I was out of the house most of the time, but when I wasn't, I would wear either headphones or earplugs almost all the time. Like, I scrupulously avoided my family. And so, like, reading this the first time through, I was like, this is too real for me.
Yeah. I feel it for sure. So he looks at his CD tower, like, stack.
Yeah.
And I realized that, like, it's interactive. You can look at the CD covers. And I was like, oh god, it's interactive. Have I missed a bunch of stuff? But just now, as we're going back through, the plugin crashed, so I realized that no, this is the first interactive thing.
The plugin crashed?
Well, I switched to Firefox while we're recording because of memory.
Oh.
And I don't have the plugin for Firefox, I guess.
Oh, you gotta get off of Chrome, man. I
Oh,
keep telling you.
All my stuff is there.
It's like a one-click operation to transfer all your stuff.
I transferred like a year ago. I don't want to go back. I want a solution. A permanent solution.
Okay, so we look at his CD tower, and then
we look at Colonel Sassacre's daunting text of magical frivolity and practical japery.
Yes.
And my note for this book was graphic design is my passion.
True. Oh my god. So, I should probably I guess this isn't really a spoiler because this is just common knowledge about this comic. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what's going on right now is so Hussie uses something called retroactive foreshadowing, where he kind of blundered through the first, or not blundered through, but very blindly, like without a ton of endgame planning,
Sure.
went through the first stages, and then after that, everything became a callback in like very plot relevant ways.
Right.
So I guess maybe I shouldn't specify exactly what it is that we're going to be seeing a bunch of again.
Right.
Colonel Sassacre
Comes back.
You will hear from him again.
Good.
My next thing that I observed was that, like, in reading all of these conversations between John and his friend,
Mm-hmm.
which, did we get a name for his friend yet?
We just have his initials.
PG.
But yeah, those are the initials of his like username, actually, not his actual name.
Okay. All right. So in those conversations, I was just like, there's no shot that actual 13-year-old boys were remotely this funny or articulate with each other.
True. Also, my note for this, like the next captcha log, or no, sorry, pester chum log,
Pester log.
pester chum log.
Alex.
My note was just no homo, because EB says, or Egbert says, I'm attracted to you, JK haha, and I assume TG is a boy if EB says JK haha to being attracted to you, but maybe I'm wrong.
So it's not specified. I can tell you that character is actually a dude, but I think it's meant to be pretty clear from the way that they talk to each other. And I don't know. Yeah, I noticed that too, and I was just like, there is no way that any actual 13-year-old boys in the year 2009 would exchange remotely like that.
Would even joke about being attracted to each other if they weren't.
Exactly, because the masculinity is so fragile.
God, I like 23, like, as a 13-year-old, that's like 8th grade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was in 8th grade, I tried to just like hang out with a friend who was a boy, like go to a movie with him. Mm-hmm. And he refused to go because there was no one else going. And it couldn't just be two boys.
God, like a fine spun glass ornament. Just the most delicate.
Yeah.
That's terrible. It's a difficult time.
It is.
13 sucks. Okay, but so I want to talk about Game Bro magazine.
Me too. It's really good.
I would ironically subscribe the hell out of this.
I love that it's made of mostly asbestos.
Yeah. Yes, we find out later on that it's made of, like, what is it, 30%, 40% recycled asbestos.
Yep.
Big ups to Mother Earth, yo. Dennis was in the bro notes.
Yeah, it's the bro notes.
Dennis was so wasted, haha, I mean, damn.
Yeah, so that caught my eye before I actually read the story. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was just like a non sequitur. Oh. But then it was actually like the story was about Dennis going to the hospital.
Yeah.
So it was less funny in retrospect.
Yeah. It's just funny to me how much the bro jokes actually hold up, because like culture, like they read as like pertinent today. Even though, like, it's been 6 years.
Time is meaningless.
Time is meaningless, except for this poster of Michael Cera, which I just thought was funny because that is a tiny infant baby Michael Cera.
Is that actually Michael Cera? I couldn't tell.
I'm pretty sure it is Michael Cera. Like, I'm pretty sure the joke is that it definitely is Michael Cera.
Yeah, I think
like a tiny infant baby.
I think you're right.
Michael Cera. Although I'm not sure it's even like a contemporary picture of him to 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just actually baby Michael Cera.
My only note as you're reading along, we have exited the room. We are in a hallway. There's a poster of Michael Cera and a poster of a clown or a jester. And my only note for this was good house.
It's a very good house, dude. John's house is banging.
Yeah, and as we go downstairs on the next page, we see even more good house.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of colorful Harlequin pictures. There's an aroma of baking.
Yeah, and yeah, the hyperlink to Wikipedia is for Betty Crocker. It's really good. So John's dad is obsessed with Harlequins. Obviously, is that correct?
Yep.
He's got little statuettes. He's got posters.
It's very specific.
Yes.
Not clowns, Harlequins.
Yes. He'll get upset. And so when John tosses the Game Bro into the fire intensifies. Like the animation of the fire gets really, really fast.
Yes.
It's really good.
Good. Yeah, I'm loving the giffiness that happens here. I had forgotten how giffy this comic is.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's interesting that like the playback rate of these gifs has a lot to do with how the story reads, because I read this was sort of between two browsers, and some of the gifs were like jacked up in one but not in the other, and it influenced a lot of the gags like detrimentally, which is unfortunate. they're like old images at this point. It kind of makes sense. They're cool.
Yeah, I guess. Although, do GIFs degrade, or
I don't think they degrade. I just think the way that browsers render them has like changed over time, like the file standards.
Right.
Like the implied file standards. Oh, I also want to talk about this misattributed quote. So we get a lot of these in the beginning, and then they kind of taper off.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those.
The moon's an errant thief, and her pale fire she snatches from the sun. So, it's like funny to me that they attribute that to Mark Twain, because Mark Twain did a bunch of like janky stories about like the American South.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know of Mark Twain, but we didn't actually. I don't think we read anything of his. We do read a lot of like kind of American stuff, like Great Gatsby, and others.
You know, that one American book.
But like all the stuff about the South and all that, we kind of don't talk about, because it's not really like, we want to talk about America, but we don't want to talk about that America, right?
Right. We like to pretend that America's not suffering from severe.
Yeah. We also like to pretend that we're not suffering from severe and lingering racism. It's great.
True.
It's all fun.
Anyway, so that quote, though, I actually looked up where all of these were from, and I felt very like a legitimate podcaster doing this research.
Nice.
So according to WikiQuote, which was the first Google search result, because I'm very serious about my research, that quote about the moon is from Act 4 of Shakespeare's The Life of Timon of Athens.
Ooh.
Yep. So it's Shakespeare.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, okay, so we're tossing Game Bro into the fire. And then...
he drops the ashes.
Naturally.
Of his grandmother.
Yes.
Messily puts them back together after a hilarious captchalogue sequence.
Oh, God. So one thing that happens, I think, sort of in the middle of that is that he reads this note on the
gift. Yeah.
Oh my God, champ! You can do anything if you put your mind to it.
Yep.
I believe in you.
Yep, I love it.
My notes just say, I will say this affirmation every morning and night. I want to print it out on a big movie-sized poster and hang it on the ceiling over my bed. And also I want to make a bunch of shitty greeting cards with that on the inside and send them to my friends in times of trouble.
Yes. Put that right alongside your other ones from Pokemon Vietnamese.
From the poorly translated and then retranslated Vietnamese bootleg.
Yes.
Pokemon Crystal.
What is it? Do not doubt. You can do
it yourself. No, that's just from a Chinese restaurant. The one that comes from Pokemon is proper, mighty, plentiful art.
Right.
That's my tagline.
The other one is like, do it yourself. Do not doubt. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Which I think Alex is reading off of my Skype.
No, I just. Oh, is it there? No, I just memorized that because it's inspiring.
Oh, I'm honored. What an honor. Yeah. Okay, so.
So John goes back upstairs. This is his. I'm gonna mix up Captchulog and Pester Chum so much. His Pester Chum is calling him, and he talks to TT.
Yeah.
Whose handle is Tentacle Therapist.
Yep.
And is that in any way a gross reference?
No, it's not gross. There are tentacles involved, but not in a like gross or inappropriate way.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you the actual sense in which they're involved because I kind of love it. I don't want to see what your genuine reaction is to it.
Okay.
Okay. So, oh god, I did a bunch of research on when he's reading Colonel Sassacre and like the roots of like the different things that he's saying. He alludes to a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and to Tom Sawyer, which is like, it's cool. It's good literary references.
Yeah. So I like that one of John's things is just wearing a funny disguise.
Yeah. He's trying to hide from his dad.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get into that more next time. But because all I know right now is just that Dad is a figure of danger, and I just as I was clicking through, the fire intensifies actually when he puts the wrapping paper on, not the Game Bro. Very important distinction. So yeah, he goes into Dad's study
and plays. He examines his dad's stuff,
and
which seems a little weird, but whatever.
Yep. It's an adventure game. You examine everything.
Yeah.
He finds an extra Captchulog card, and I thought this was a cool kind of little thing where he couldn't use it yet. It had to wait for it to go to the bottom of the pile.
Right.
Before he could actually kind of get it to upgrade his Captchulog.
Yes.
I thought that was neat.
I forgot. We spent a ton of time on that stuff in like the first act and a half or so of this story, and then it just like more or less gets ignored, but we will still continue to call back to it, and I just forgot like how much time is spent on like jokes about the game mechanics. Yeah,
and actually we didn't talk about it when it was the pages, but I like kind of how the Captchulog is just like a rule of this universe they live in, and like his friend's older brother like knows a bunch about data structures, so he can like optimize his Captchulog, and like his life is easier because of it.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god, it's like proto life hacking.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a neat little gimmick that they actually like live in an adventure game.
Right, but so like that's what's so wild about it, because like okay, so they live in an adventure game, and then also the premise of the story is that they get sucked into a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all very meta. I get very excited about it.
No, please continue to get excited.
So I liked the joke about being allergic to the scorn of the peanut gallery.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah. I noticed there's a telescope on the roof, and they don't mention anybody being very interested in astronomy, so I thought it was interesting that there happens to be a telescope on the roof. And then there's a quote, which I think is provided in English, but which I then Googled and it came out in French. I believe it's on the page where he stares out into the emptiness. Yeah, he stares out into the suburban emptiness, and he thinks, absence diminishes little passions and increases great ones, as wind extinguishes candles and fans a fire.
Attributed to Walt Whitman.
Yeah, attributed to Walt Whitman. It's actually attributed to someone who I should probably have sent this name to Alex, because it's in French, and I just straight up refuse to attempt to pronounce it, but y'all can Google that for yourselves.
Hold on, please try to pronounce it.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Can you send me can you just type it out to me?
God, yeah, sure. Here, that guy.
Oh, yeah, François de la Rochefoucauld.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Sure, no problem. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So
Maxi-
So
Sorry, what?
sorry.
Oh, I think his first name is Maxime,
Sure,
because it's after a comma.
because that makes sense.
Well, attribution.
Right.
Whitman Walt.
Oh yeah. Walter, my good buddy Walter. Yeah, our respective linguistic capacities are kind of not necessarily equivalent because Alex is basically bilingual and I can like read Spanish pretty well, but like anybody can read Spanish out loud pretty well. It's like super easy to pronounce, but French looks like somebody very through the page. Like cut up lots of little like just random like little prefixes and suffixes and just like
Yeah.
boggle with it.
Do you know, like, well, I don't know if it's actually true, but it's just like kind of what they told us in school, like the reason that French has so many kind of extra silent letters.
Why?
That is that before there was kind of a standardized spelling, similar to English, but in French, kind of the monks decided to, like, because they were paid per letter basically, they put as many silent letters as they possibly could, and since no one else could read, they just convinced everyone else that all these letters were silent, and they became silent because people who learned to read learned not to read these letters.
Wait, is that really it?
That's what they told us throughout school. There's probably an element of truth in there.
Okay, so here's the thing about the misattributed quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Is like think about who a Homestuck is. Like especially think about who Homestucks turned out to be.
Like teens,
Shrieking teens.
right?
Yeah. So which is not to belittle. Probably lots of people who are listening to this are going to be teenagers.
Hey, listen, listen. We're all shrieking teens at some point.
Bro, I was absolutely a shrieking teen. But so here's the thing: is that when I was a shrieking teen, I did not get these jokes. Like I didn't get them at all.
Oh, so you thought that they were not misattributed at all?
I just didn't even really like think it through. I was just like, oh, yeah, it's a quote that's attributed to like a dead white guy. Okay, next thing. And like only now am I like that is absolutely Shakespeare being attributed to Mark Twain. That's funny.
Yeah.
But it's like who did he expect to get these? Like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure, especially at this point, he didn't think that his entire audience would be shrieking teens, and it probably wasn't. Like, there's probably lots of diversity in the Homestuck demographic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, so that's the thing is, like, I think a lot of people who read it, especially initially, were carryover fans from his older stuff, like, especially Problem Sleuth.
Right.
Which is tonally most similar to the way that this is sort of in the very beginning, with just, like, the very, like, pretty straightforward, like, text and images, and, like, a lot of jokes about game mechanics, versus the more character-driven stuff that we start to see later on. And so, I don't know. It's just interesting to see the audience that he seems to be writing for.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. So, just because it's like a multimedia thing, and like it ends basically with like a home screen or something, like it says Homestuck on it, with like the sun. That's kind of like the intro is done, the cold open is done. There's the home, like the splash page, and like he's looking out at this like empty suburban space. And like is he stuck at home? Like, can he not leave that lot? Like, because it seems like he lives entirely in this house, or something.
I mean, like he goes to school. That's like very authentic to my experience of living in suburbia.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like because everything is so spread out. Like if you happen to know someone in your neighborhood, maybe you can walk to their house. But mostly, like, you can't walk anywhere.
Right.
It's hard to bike places. Like you basically are stuck. You're trapped unless your parent drives you somewhere or you're like going to school. Like,
okay.
I just felt acutely trapped.
So like the world map doesn't like end at the end of his driveway.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. Cool.
Although
gotta spawn in a dad. Gotta get that car to load.
Yeah. Okay. So then I think we after this, he goes back inside, and
Mhm.
he's gonna. You have no other choice. You are going in.
Yeah.
So we get John. We get our first enter. So the thing about entering, this is page 1988, 001988, if you're following along at home. We get S, John enter, and the S means there's sound.
Yeah, the S is like it's a multimedia thing.
Right. And here it's just the word enter as the command, and that's going to get repeated a lot throughout the story, and it just kind of
Cool.
interestingly signifies
Like an encounter.
Yeah, an encounter, like just an important
A
moment.
story moment. Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Yeah, so then we try. Oh, we try to interact with Dad, and he's like, "Nah, you are my son. I can tell, even though you're wearing that silly glasses."
Yeah, the glitch, like a speech bubble, and like
Yes.
the brightly flashing exclamation point. Like I've been
Yeah,
caught.
It's like flashing like as fast as I think you can make a GIF flash.
Yeah, which is like a Metal Gear Solid thing, I think, where like when you're caught, because they're stealth games, and when you're caught, like an exclamation point flashes above you or something, or above them. I haven't played them, but it's a game thing.
Oh,
Like when you're found out, there's an exclamation point.
I buy it. Okay, so but then speaking of games, now we stripe, and we get to our first like really like very interactive thing.
Mhm.
We can choose to aggrieve or abjure.
Yeah, I like it. So Strife is like battle mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just strife is like to battle somebody.
And didn't he, like, when he was messing with his data structure, didn't he like permanently attach a hammer to his Strife mode?
Yep.
And I remember thinking then, like, well, it's better, like, a hammer is a decent thing. Like, if you have to, like, put a household object in your battle mode, I guess a hammer is like better than like a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
So he messed up kind of, but in a good way.
Yeah, he did all right. It's really funny because they really do follow through with that. He only can fight with
his hammer. That's good.
the entire rest. It's not necessarily just that hammer. It's just
Okay.
he can only fight with a hammer.
That's cool. I like that.
You get some pretty dope hammers around actually. But we'll get into that later.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're striping, we're grieving, we're abjuring, and
then you can.
don't actually. There's no way to like win or lose that fight. It just kind of keeps going.
Yeah, and you can't abscond.
Yeah. Then you get the option to. Oh, you cannot abscond.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have to equip our disguise, and I love the vocabulary here.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I'm just like aegis is a noun, which means the protection, backing, or support of a particular person or organization.
Nice.
So he's like almost misusing it here, but not quite.
Cool. There's a new Pokemon like in the new generation named, well, I thought it was Aegislash, but I guess it's Aegislash, which is like a shield with two swords crossed behind it.
Oh, you're really running out of ideas, aren't they?
No, it's really cool. There's always been object Pokemon. It's fine. The first evolution is just a sword, and then there's two swords called Doublade. And then its final evolution is a shield with two swords.
Good.
And it's great. I love it.
Good.
I
don't know. I mostly missed the Pokemon craze.
Uh-huh.
I was obsessed with for our listeners at home. I was obsessed with the cartoon for a while, and I was obsessed with the trading card game.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not allowed to have video games, and so I never got to play it.
I wasn't allowed to have video games either. But like every time I could possibly borrow someone's copy of Pokemon, I would. Huh. Like I had a cousin who came into town a couple times a year, and he had 2 copies of Pokemon Gold. So he would lend me one, and like my save file stayed there because he had 2 copies. So I could like pick up 6 months later, and it was great. I didn't get very far, but because I was like 6. But it was great, and so I have really good memories of that game.
Nice.
Now I've played through a lot of Pokemon games, and I'm very happy about it.
I'm glad that project of yours has worked out well. Okay, so we have another misattributed quote here.
Good.
Coming up, which is, when two great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield. And it was attributed to Oscar Wilde. And again, like, I was like, that's a dead white guy name.
Mm-hmm.
That quote is fine. No, the quote is from the Tao Te Ching.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Which is not Oscar Wilde.
Nope.
It's like about as far from Oscar Wilde as you could possibly get. So, again, like, who does he expect to get these? Like, I had to Google it. And then finally, so where we stopped, we threw our smoke pellets, and
Yeah.
we, by I mean, like, we, the player, and John,
Yes.
Sassacre, you beautiful bastard, sets off our smoke pellets, and we can flee, and
No, you mean abscond.
we can abscond, excuse me, abscond the hell out of there, and we stop. We got this verbatim!
Yeah.
Next to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's where we stopped reading this week. And I have read this, like, I've read this part of Homestuck, like, 4 times.
Mm.
And even still, I was just like, but we don't know what the verb is yet. Like, the suspense was like, oh, I need to keep reading it.
Oh man.
I don't know. Alex, what was your experience?
A lot of confusion, but like happy confusion.
Okay.
And then yeah, I was very into the kind of the cute game mechanic stuff. And a lot of the animation is really cute. I think it's really cute so far, which apparently doesn't last that long with violence and stuff. But it can be cute. It can be cute and violent at the same time.
Yeah. It's sort of by turns cute and violent, I would say.
Yeah. I like on this page I'm stopped at, the skies is just kind of plopping out of the Siladex onto the floor. It's a cute animation.
Yeah, it's really funny the amount of like Homestuck fans and haters alike who are just like, the entire like first like 4 acts of this story are stupid, especially the first act. It's so boring and whatever. Like, no, it's silly and ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on, learn to laugh.
Yeah. So okay, how far through the first act are we now? Like a tenth of the way?
Let me view oldest to newest. Have you actually looked at the log page?
Nope.
Oh gosh.
Should I?
I think you will find it enlightening. Don't like squint too hard at the names of anything.
Well, I mean, what I've seen is like on the front page, there's like the list of latest pages.
A6, Act 5.
Yeah, and like I'm like, I don't know how to parse that yet.
Yeah, it's just interesting if you like just go to the log and then go view oldest to newest, and then scroll down and look at how quickly the visited links become unvisited links,
Mm-hmm.
and how long that list of unvisited links goes on.
Yikes.
And yeah, I don't know. I think it's entertaining. It's a lot of pages. So let me try and find Act 2.
Oh my
And
god.
Act 1.
Oh my god, it's so long.
It's long.
Why did I look?
Yeah.
Why did I look?
So it looks like we're a little less than halfway
Mm.
done with Act 1. So
Cool.
I think but the next half is a little bit more Pesterlog heavy.
Okay.
So there's a little more text. But I also think that like maybe our approach is going to change a little bit. We're going to be doing a lot less page by page commentary and a little bit more
Yeah.
overarching summary. And so I think that for next week, we're going to read through the end of Act 1. Also, I forgot how cool the flash is that ends Act 1.
Nice.
And I really want to watch it.
Cool.
So, we're going to do that.
So just for kind of context, how far along is Cascade?
Oh my gosh. So Cascade happens, I want to say 3 years later. I believe it happened in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Cascade. Yeah. Oh no, excuse me. It happened in October of 2011.
Okay.
Right. Because it was the year before I graduated. So.
God, 4 years ago.
God, don't remind me. Yeah. So we are 4 years and about. Let me look at the actual page number. So that's page 6009, and we just read page 2000. So we have about 4,000 pages to go.
How do the numbers work? Why does it start at like 19 something? Is that like all the pages of the previous?
Yeah,
comics?
all the pages of his previous 3
Okay,
comics.
I see.
So, I mean, that should also give you some perspective. Like, Problem Sleuth is not short.
Yeah.
And this is way longer than Problem Sleuth.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have about 4,000 pages to go, but do consider that plenty of those pages are just, like, an image and, like, a line of text.
Right, yeah.
So, but plenty of them are also, multi-page pester logs, so maybe it balances out. We'll get there eventually. I find it a quick read.
Homestuck, that's a quick read. No problem.
I read it in a week. It was about all I did that week.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I think we'll finish Act 1
for next episode.
Week.
The next episode, I don't know if it's going to be next week.
Oh, that's true. I keep saying next week. I'm actually going to be at a conference.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking, like, how are you going to fit that in?
Oh, it's fine. It's reading Homestuck. It's not like psychological. I'm going to be like all jet lagged and like, overwhelmed and stuff. So I'm probably actually going to be like my intellectual comfort food.
Nice.
To get me through the week.
Nice. So wait, do you want to talk about your conference a bit? Like, we don't have to put this in, but I'm interested.
Okay. So I study human-computer. That was a weird way to say it. I study human-computer interaction, which is this like interesting field, sort of at the intersection of like cognitive psychology and ergonomics and computer science and like more sort of industry-influenced disciplines of design and stuff like that. And my like senior capstone project, and hopefully what I ultimately end up doing for my PhD, provided that I get into grad school, which let's not talk about that, is looking at ways that basically like children and adult learners interact with technology that they use for learning. And so my research looks at a bunch of different modalities like speaking and like your eye gaze and all different kinds of things. So the conference is super relevant to that because it's all different. It's a conference on multimodal. Sorry, I'm really bad at answering questions in a straightforward manner. But it is the conference on multimodal interaction. And so it's all kinds of stuff from like gesture interaction to
God.
Ways that people shake things. To, like, how can we assess people's mood from just the way that they click on stuff? Like,
oh my God.
It's super interesting. Like, there's someone there who studies how we can assess when people's minds are wandering by measuring the like rate of their blinking. It's like,
oh my God.
It's awesome. It's like a little bit like machines are taking over the world, but once you get past that, it's like super chill.
Nice. That's really cool. I am so enamored with your science career.
Oh, thank you.
It's very exciting to be a spectator of.
I hope so. I hope that it continues to provide lots of entertaining content. Yeah, cool. What are you up to this week, Alex?
Not too much. I'm my workload is a lot less than yours. I'm not going to any conferences.
Oh, exciting. At some point, we should probably end this episode.
Yep.
I'm Lydia, and you can find me on the internet at brickchip.tumblr.com or on Twitter at brickchip. That's the word brick, like you spell the word brick, followed by the word chip, like you spell the word chip, with nothing in between them.
Nice. I'm Alex. You can find me on Tumblr at leafcrunch.tumblr.com. That is a leaf, like from a tree, and crunch, like what you do with a leaf. All one word, at tumblr.com. And you can find me on Twitter at currently autumn, like the season, and time, but with a B instead of an E.
It's autumn Tim.
No, it's autumn time.
Okay.
Have you... has this... Oh, no.
We've talked about this. We've gone over this.
Yeah.
It's a...
But that's probably going to change soon because it's getting really cold here. And also I should probably find... Exactly. But also I should probably find a more permanent Twitter handle. But someone took Leaf Crunch, so that's great.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
You need to...
I should have stockpiled it. Because it was free before. Someone took it after seeing my blog. And I should have hoarded it. But I'm too late.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find something. You don't need a unified internet presence. It's okay.
It's nice. It's nice to have it though.
It is. Maybe you'll your internet presence is young yet. This is gonna be with you for the rest of your life. So
That's
you can
true.
pick.
Oh god, this is like the first actual thing that we're tying to our internet presences.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so thank you for listening to this first episode of the Homestake podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can check out hamstakepodcast.tumblr.com, all one word.
Or you can reach out to us on Twitter, where we are at Homestake Podcast.
Or you can email us at hamstakepodcast@gmail.com.
And we would love to hear from you. And we also, for now, will be posting our updates on hamstakepodcast.tumblr.com.
Yes, or if you want to subscribe to us on SoundCloud, I don't know who does that, but that's where it'll be hosted for the time being. But you can also just listen to those directly on Tumblr.
We're still sort of hammering out our update schedule, but you can look forward to our next episode to come out 2 weeks from now. So that's Monday, November 23rd. And we hope to hear from you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.